Today, we're going to dive into the very first, and you could argue, the most important chapter of Sun Tzu's The Art of War. It's called Ep.001, which is all about calculation. We're going to explore his huge idea that almost every victory is actually decided before anyone even makes a move.
But let's start with a question I think we've all asked ourselves. Why is it that so many smart people with really good plans and a ton of effort just fail? Why doesn't hard work always equal success?
Well, Sun Tzu had an answer for this more than 2,000 years ago. He said victory and defeat aren't decided in the heat of battle. Nope, they're decided way before that. It's not about who fights the hardest, it's about who calculates the most accurately.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do you calculate? Well, Sun Tzu gives us this surprisingly practical framework. You can think of it as a 5-point checklist to figure out your chances of success before you even start.
He called them the 5 fundamentals. In today's terms, we can translate them as the mission, the timing, the terrain, the leadership, and the system. And this isn't about fortune-telling or anything like that. It's about a cold, hard, systematic look at reality.
Let's kick it off with the first one, which Sun Tzu said was the absolute most important, the mission, or Tao. Now, this might sound a little mystical, but it's not. It's super practical. It just means making sure that the people and the leadership want the exact same thing. Are your people so bought into the goal that they would, and I'm quoting him here, live or die with you, without even hesitating? That's the real test of a shared mission. To see just how powerful this checklist is, let's look at a real-life example from ancient history, the incredible Battle of Muye. This is maybe the ultimate story of a calculated underdog win. So, on one side, you have the establishment, the huge, powerful Shang dynasty. But there was a big problem. Their leader, King Zhou, was famously corrupt and just out of control. This picture here shows his legendary pool of wine and forest of meat, where he'd throw these insane, endless parties, totally clueless about what was happening in his own kingdom.
And it was way worse than just parties. King Zhou was a flat-out tyrant. He came up with these horrific tortures, like the Palau, basically a burning hot pillar he used to execute anyone who criticized him. So right there, he completely failed Sun Tzu's first test. He had lost the mission. His people weren't just afraid of him, they hated him.
Now let's meet the challenger, the Zhou clan. They were just a small tribe, kind of on the edge of the Shang Empire. By all the usual metrics, they were completely outmatched, outnumbered, and outgunned. No chance, right?
But the Zhou leaders did something different. Instead of just rushing into a fight they couldn't win, they spent years living by the spirit of GPN, calculation. They studied their enemy, they built alliances, they gathered intel. They weren't just waiting around, they were calculating every single angle.
You can see just how committed they were to this idea when you look at timing. At one point, King Wu gets all his allies together. Everyone is pumped up, they're ready to go attack, but he takes a look at the situation and realizes the conditions aren't quite perfect. He actually says the mandate of heaven is not yet known and has the guts to send everyone home. He chose perfect timing over giving in to pressure. And then, 2 years later, that patience pays off big time. The perfect moment arrives. King Zhou sent his main army to fight a war way off in the east. His capital city was now wide open, that's favorable terrain, and his own people were about to revolt. The timing was perfect. King Wu knew this was it. This was the moment to strike.
So, the Zhou army marches, and yeah, they only had about 50,000 soldiers against a Shang army of over 170,000 that was scrambled together at the last minute. But the real difference was in their quality. The Zhou were disciplined, organized, and fighting for a cause they all believed in. The Shang army? It was mostly made up of slaves and prisoners who had zero loyalty to their awful king.
And right here, we can just lay it all out on Sun Tzu's scorecard. King Wu won on every single fundamental. He had the mission, the timing, the terrain, the leadership, and the system all lined up. The battle was pretty much decided before it even started. In fact, when the fighting began, a huge chunk of the Shang soldiers just turned around and started fighting for the Zhou.
So, great story, right? But what does a 3,000-year-old battle have to do with your career, or your business, or your life today? Well, turns out, this framework is absolutely timeless. Let's bring it on to your modern battlefield.
Just look at these common situations. The impulsive way is to act on emotion. The strategist way is to calculate first. This isn't about being less bold, it's about being more effective. You don't launch a product just because you love it, you calculate if there's a market for it. You don't quit your job in a rage, you calculate your next move first.
So here it is, your own personal checklist. Before your next big move, just take a minute and run through these questions. And be brutally honest with yourself. Is everyone really on the same page with the mission? Is the timing actually right, or are you just being impatient? Do you truly get the environment you're about to walk into? Are you, as the leader, really prepared? And do you actually have the systems and resources to back it all up?
Answering these questions, that's how you build what we can call the victor's mindset. It's a total shift in how you take on any challenge.
This quote just nails it. Amateurs compete, professionals calculate. You know, amateurs jump into the ring and just hope for the best. Professionals do the hard work of calculation first, so that the actual fight is as short and decisive as it can possibly be.
So just remember this, success is not an accident, and it's not just about trying hard. The real win doesn't happen in the boardroom or at the big launch event. It happens quietly, beforehand, through some serious, honest calculation. The public battle is really just a confirmation of a victory that you already won.
And that leaves us with one final question for you. In your work, in your life, in whatever big project you're thinking about, what is the most important calculation you need to make right now?